We're here.
We're back. We're here at the dummy table.
Yeah. I don't think any other podcast has actually used a piece of equipment as a table.
Oh,
Real training piece of equipment as a table. So
No, I don't think so. 12 to 6. Did they say the 12 to 6 elbows coming back?
I think it's going to come back. Definitely the knee to the head of grounded opponent. So now you have to have, I believe, it doesn't matter if you have both hands.
Oh,
You have to be on like both knees now. Like the grounded opponent rule's changing.
I think that's better, honestly.
It makes it way better. It makes the wrestler not be able to just play the game if they
Could
take a
you
bad
always
shot.
do to the body, though?
Oh yeah, you can always hit to the body no matter what.
Like,
Yeah,
the ground.
yeah.
Just couldn't do head before.
No, couldn't do head before.
So how you feeling, dude?
Dude, I feel great, man. It feels good to be
been a
back.
while.
It's been a minute since we shot a podcast, so bear with me a little bit. But this is cool. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And in a different location, so that's really cool.
I don't think we've ever done one within one of your fight camps either.
No, yeah, this is a little different. So a lot has happened since then.
Oh, yeah.
So
Probably start, we'll go in chronological order. So
Okay.
maybe we'll stick with Pennsylvania trip.
yeah, so the beginning of June, I left for Pennsylvania. I was living close to State College. My brother and my dad actually went to State College. And so my brother knows
Penn State.
Penn State, yeah, in Pennsylvania. My brother knows Moose or Musa is one of his really good friends. And they both boxed in college together. Moose is on the American Top Team, Happy Valley team. And so that was kind of like my in. My brother was like, dude, you should go train with Moose. Like, I'm sure they would have you. And so I reached out and I was able to go out there and train with Bo and Moose and all those guys, Coach Barbosa and Coach Ton. Those are the two main coaches out there. And it was just a really great experience. There's a lot of great training partners out there, and they're very strategic of their approach. And both coaches are at each practice pretty much every day, and there's always a plan. So it was really worth going out there. And of course, everybody can wrestle real damn good in the state of Pennsylvania. So it was cool to go out there and just wrestle good guys and just train. So
What do you think was like the difference between like their approach and like what you've experienced out here so far?
yeah, I would say they have a very well-rounded approach, even though I think they get a lot of guys that are, former Penn State wrestlers, kind of like Bo. There's some other guys that were there that were still at Penn State wrestling and then also training on the side. And so I think, they're taking those guys and they're showing them good striking. Coach Ton's their Muay Thai coach there, showing them, how to strike, the basics of striking, but then also putting that jiu-jitsu, factor together, that part of their game together. And Coach Barbosa is a really good black belt. I think he's related to Edson Barbosa.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude.
And so I didn't even put that together until after I left. I went there for 6 minutes and I was like, this guy's related to Edson Barbosa. And I was like, that makes perfect sense. I think he's his older brother.
That's so cool. Dude, he's like a huge inspiration for just the way that I attempt like leg kicks and stuff.
Oh.
Like I watched so much of his.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he's the best leg kicker in MMA.
I think he's the best.
Yeah.
To me at least.
Yeah. So great coaches. And then obviously just being around Bo and being around the team. They've just got
Bo Nickel, by the way.
Yeah, Bo Nichols. Sorry, guys. And they have some other guys there that are just really good. Noah Hermosillo. He's a Division II national champ wrestler. He's an amateur, but he's slowly moving up into like fighting pro and just super talented. And then all the guys there, there's Gabe Cruz. There's a couple other guys that I don't know their names their full name right off the top of my head. But really good team. And it was totally worth the time. Also got to learn how to fly fish while I was out there, so that was kind of an added bonus. I'm a big outdoorsman, so yeah, I'm a big outdoorsman. So I was like, yo, shout out to Noah for getting me a fly rod in my hand. And
So what would you say? What was it like training with Bo?
dude, Bo's wrestling is as good as everybody says it is. And he's just a lot more well-rounded for being like as I won't say green because he's definitely not green, but
In the
He's only
MMA
got-
world.
yeah, he's only got 6. I think he's 6 fights. I think he's 6-0 for only having 6 pro fights and not too many amateur fights. I think before that, he's really good. Even in the striking department, I would say he knows range really well. He knows his distance, and he's got a pretty well-rounded game. Obviously, his wrestling is top notch, And I felt that every training session. So I was like, dude, this is good.
What was his weight at? Do you know?
Like, I don't even know. I would say plus 200 plus.
So he was quite a bit heavier than you then.
Yeah. He fights at 185. I fight at 170. And I'm not a big 170. So yeah, I think he's probably a bit heavier than me, but it wasn't like he was like huge, way bigger than me. Like huge, like, oh my gosh, he's got 30 pounds on me or anything like that.
But it was probably like if he was going for the takedown, this is a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. But he was just that good too. Yeah. Like from a technical aspect, like he's that good. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, so it was wild, and he's just like he's a very high level individual. Just being around him, I was able to be in the training room with him. He's obviously dialed in and on when he's in the training room, but even just like out and about, like he's just a very high level person and real cool guy.
Very like intense.
Yeah, intense, and then but like outside the gym, also real chill. Like we went to Moose. We went to his fight. Moose fought in Pittsburgh for 247 fight promotion. So we went up to Pittsburgh, and Moose won his fight. So we all went to. They had an Airbnb that was pretty close, and so before we went back to the Airbnb, we went to what was it? What's the Wings? What's
Buffalo Wild Wings?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
There you go.
Dude, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings. There's like 30 of us. This is a great example of how he's kind of like a high level person, at least that I saw. There's like 30 of us. The waitress there was not happy to see 30 people just walk in. Was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to take all these orders, this and that. And he could like read it instantly. And he was like, don't worry about it, just sit us and then just come to me and I'll make your life easy. And so she sits us down, she takes her drink orders, whatever. And then he's like, all right, I think it was 200 wings. Here's the flavors. Just bring them out and bring me the check. And it was like as simple as that. And that like turned her whole day around. Like she all of a sudden was in a great mood. And so it's one of those examples that I see that was like, oh dude, he's a high level guy. He just handled that like it was nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it was really cool to be around him.
Well, I think especially in like normal life too, like people are more like they want to be like make sure everybody's happy.
Right.
But if you're in a group, everybody knows if you're in a group with a bunch of people and everybody wants to make each other happy, nobody ever decides on shit.
Yeah.
So then you're like, we could do this, we could do this. You waste so much fucking time.
Yeah, he just
so you always need one guy like that. That's like, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, all right.
He's that guy. Yeah, he's that guy.
So for sure. I respect that for sure.
Yeah. So, but other than that, yeah, he's just a high level individual, and it was really cool to be around, a bunch of guys that were like that. So
where are we at right now?
So yeah, we're at the arena. We're 2 weeks out from my big fight with Melee FC for their welterweight title. I'll be fighting in Austin, Texas. Everything's going according to plan. Weight's good. Training's been great. I think I got back from the East Coast 3 weeks ago, so I've been here 3 weeks training. So this will be my 4th week. And I'm just blessed to be here, and just like I'm definitely ready to seize the opportunity. And this is the best shape I've ever been in. This is the most ready I've ever been for any fight. So it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, this is gonna be sick. So what do you know about the Nakashima?
Yeah, so James Nakashima, seasoned vet. He's a tough guy. He's a wrestler for the most part. He fought for one championship. Fought for their world title, lost, but just fought some in like the highest level competition. He's been out of the game for a while, and I just feel like he's an old dog who's not going to get any faster, any stronger. He's probably got no new tricks, and I'm just a younger, better version of him, and I'm just kind of coming up into my prime. So it's my time, and he's just kind of in the way of that, and that's just the bottom line. I feel like I train a lot harder than he does, and I have a lot more in the game, on here on out. And so it's kind of his time to go.
Yeah, I don't think people realize the tear that you've been on for the last, has it been like 3 or 4 years since you've had your last loss?
I think it's 3 years, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a minute, yeah.
I haven't tasted defeat in a while.
In a minute, yeah. It feels foreign. It feels good. I try to keep it that way.
Yeah,
but yeah, I've definitely faced, good competition. That's definitely gotten me ready for this fight. And I don't think he's the toughest guy I've fought.
Yeah.
Even with the 5 rounds and with his wrestling pedigree, I think Joey Davis was a better wrestler. I think I think I have more tools than him. And I think if he were to watch film on me, he doesn't really know what I'm going to do. And I can watch film on him and I know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that just puts me in a good spot. I'm very confident going in that I'll have the answers and I'll see the shots as it appears, and when I see the finish, I'll put them away. So
Good. Well, I'm proud of that. I guess it's like we were kind of talking a little bit too. Like I know you've been at it for a while now.
Yeah.
It's been like
11 years.
It's been a grind. I know
It's been
for
a
you.
grind, man.
There's been a lot of close opportunities that haven't really panned out.
Right.
I know that's probably kind of hard on you.
Yeah.
Like trying to get into the major
Yeah.
promotion stuff.
Yeah.
But I think you're right where you need to be.
Yeah.
Personally, like I know you're obviously not where you want to be, and there's a lot of big opportunities to go to maybe go to UFC and stuff like that. But I think this one's going to be a big deal, dude.
I think it is too. I think the pressure is definitely on in this fight for me to go out there and finish this guy. I haven't finished the last 3. And I think the UFC kind of takes note of that, and other people take note of that. Maybe that's their reasoning why I shouldn't be in the big show. So there is a bit of pressure, and to do it against James Nakashima, he's known as a tough guy who goes to decision every time he fights.
Yeah.
So it just makes it that much more of a challenge. Like, okay, like I got to go out there and finish this guy. Then that's something that not very many guys in the world have been able to do. So I think it's just an added challenge, and it's another good thing to add to my resume. Once I do finish them, it's like, okay, now what are you guys gonna say? Because there's nothing else.
Yeah.
So
Fighting somebody who was competing in one.
yeah, in the major organization.
Is that like if you were to kind of pick a spot that you think would be good for you right now, you're thinking more like one?
I'm in my head, I think I have that answer, but I'm also just open to hearing. I'm open to being in the UFC. I'm open to that, being in PFL. Just any more major organization where I can make a living. That's really the most important, because I've been on the journey now 11 years, and financially, it's it takes a toll on you when you're just fighting in the regional shows, and you're like, all right, dude, like I'm doing this again for a couple $1,000. Like now it's time to like either put up or shut up and make it. So this is definitely that time. And I think after this, nobody can say anything that I don't deserve to be in there. So
yeah, I think that's always tough too. Like obviously, like we're both on like a grind, and we're getting a little older, and I feel like
yeah,
we look around and you see all these people who have like stuff a little bit figured out around our age, and it's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it goes back
definitely
to what we were talking about earlier with comparing yourself to others. And that's one thing I always, when I feel like I am comparing myself to others, I kind of take a step back and realize that, one, this is the journey that I chose. There's a lot of successful people out there in different realms that are, our guys are our age making a lot of money doing something else. But it really is about the journey. And I try not to compare myself to other fighters anymore, where they're at. Like, this is such a ruthless game. Like, if you make it to that big show, good for you. Like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna shit all over your parade.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my journey is a bit different. My journey is, I would say, is harder, but I'm gonna pay off in the end. It's gonna pay off in the end. And when I do get to the big show, I'm going to stay for a very long time. And I think that's what everybody keeps telling me. And now I know that, because I have that experience, like the big show experience. I got that check.
Yeah.
I fought the one time, and I fought in championship
Bellator.
rounds. Check. Haven't lost in 3 years. Check. Like, I'm right where I need to be. And this one will just prove that, like, okay, yeah, he definitely belongs to be in there.
Yeah,
So.
especially if you get the finish too. Like you're only getting better at that.
Oh
point.
yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna get the finish, and I'm not gonna call around or predict when, but when it comes, I'll capitalize. So I just can't wait.
What was it like? I was watching a little bit back of that Bellator fight.
Yeah,
I know that was like a very like tumultuous time.
yeah,
And, like knowing each other and stuff.
yeah.
That was actually the first time that I think I met you, because I had to take your photos for the posters.
Yeah. That was that was the first time we met. Yeah,
That was funny because I had never done that before.
Uh-huh.
So like just figuring out all the stuff that they need
Right.
for like the photos and stuff. They're like, all right, who's doing touch-ups? And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
figure out how to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was fun though.
Yeah, it was a good learning experience for you and I, because I was like, I've never fought on a big show, of that magnitude before. So that was like a big test in my head. Like, okay, mentally, could I do it?
I also didn't realize that they weren't like the UFC where they give you like a couple more fights. Like I didn't realize
Yeah.
that was like a one and done.
Yeah, it was a one and done
Kinda
deal.
thing.
Yeah, and usually the big show's pretty good on, if you step up for them, they're gonna assign you to 3 fights. I think it was a 1-fight deal because it was a full training camp, and I think it was Joey's first fight back after a long layoff. So they're just like, we'll bring somebody in, one and done, and that's also why I kind of asked for the money I asked for, because I was like, all right, if it's one and done, then bump it up, you know what I mean? So it ended up paying off. It was a great experience, just being underneath those lights at a high level and knowing that you're going to fight a guy who he was on a tear at the time too.
Yeah,
That
undefeated.
and he hadn't tasted defeat in a really long time. So yeah, and I came out of that fight realizing that I can definitely be the best in the world at this. It's just a matter of me putting my mind to it, and really the only thing that can take me out of the game is me.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, so.
that was one of those ones I always go back to because I feel like that was kind of like a good example of like if somebody wants to not let a fight get finished, they
Mhm.
can take what like avenues to make sure that they can ride out the rounds.
Right. Yeah.
And that was like the
That's what
story.
he
of
did.
that
Yeah,
fight,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
for sure. And he used his wrestling. I knew going into the fight after we had weigh-ins and I looked at him, I was like, there's something, he's not going to come out and gunsling like I wanted him to and play my game. And so I knew
That was not at all what I like. If you with them, like you look up his highlights and they always show that flying knee.
He's got some
and,
electrifying finishes.
Yeah, they show a lot of those like in the highlight reel leading up to that fight, but that was like
not there.
What happened at all.
Not there. Yeah.
Such a bummer a little bit.
But that's the one that put me kind of on the map too, So it did a lot. Didn't do as much as I wanted it to for me, but it did something for me. Like everybody was like, "Oh, who the heck is that guy?" They just beat Joey Davis. Like nobody knew who I was. So I think I definitely got people's attention. And then obviously like winning the A1 combat belt was another big one. Fighting for LFA, another good test, and just proof that I deserve to be in the big show. So yeah, and then now we're here, and this one will be the last one, and then I'll be in the big show. So
That's been your
whatever else I got to do. If I got to win every single belt, like obviously I don't want to go down that route, but at this point, it kind of
A1.
I just got A1 combat's belt, and then this will be
because
melee.
LFA it was just a match.
It was just a one-time fight. Yeah, it was a one-time fight, but it's most guys nowadays they're fighting a couple cans, and then they're kind of working to like maybe a regional title, if that, and then they usually get a good opportunity. I just kind of look at my journey's just a bit different. Like I didn't have a manager when I first started pro fighting. Like it was just me and my team, so I fought whoever I could.
Yeah,
and so kind of to get to this point, without that, and then to be on the trajectory that I'm on. Like I didn't get to have the padded records, the fights that I was supposed to win. Like I went in there and fought guys that they were tough fights, and I ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just feel like my path's just a little bit different than everybody else's. Mine's the tougher path, but it pays off more in the end.
Yeah,
Especially if you got to look at fighting like a long term. Like even though you don't have that much time, it's like okay, if you're just gonna fight nobodies your first 6 or 7 fights and then get thrown in the UFC and you think you're gonna do great. It's probably not going to happen. There's a lot of guys who go 2 and out and you never hear from them again. They're that guy who, oh yeah, he fought in the UFC, at one point in his life, which it's a great accomplishment, but usually people get there to stay there and try to make a lot of money. So
yeah, you want to be more like a Diego Lopez,
like a Dustin Poirier, man, dude. Yeah. Dustin Poirier's been that's the one guy that comes to mind when I think about like, dude, he fought some tough guys. He started at 145, fought some tough guys. He didn't win them all, but man, like towards the end, he was still climbing. Even after some tough losses, came back, went up a weight class. Boom, he's back on the trajectory of, becoming a champ. And then he almost gets the belt.
Yeah,
he gets the interim belt, fights for the belt, but like he's one of those guys. He's made a lot of money in the game because he's tough. One, he's a tough guy. He's really good at fighting. He's very, dedicated to the game, but he's had a tough path to getting there, and that's
Yeah.
what really kept him there.
He's definitely too like outside of the cage. Like I feel like that's where the UFC kind of differs than other places. Is it's more like you have to take advantage of the platform
Mm-hmm.
and think of yourself as more like a business.
Right.
So like he's leaning into like the hot sauce thing and different stuff like that. That's like the trajectory that you need to put yourself on when you go in places like that. So having like that mold to kind of like aspire to, to kind of figure out what goes on after fighting,
I think it's that and like just more of a business mindset because you got to know that you can't fight forever. At some point we're all going to have the day where you lay the gloves down. And so, what are you going to do after that? You still want your family to be financially good and well off, and hopefully you don't have to, still work if you've done enough in the game.
Yeah.
But just setting yourself up for success after, because there's a whole other chapter of life after fighting.
Yeah.
So that's really important.
Especially too if you can get to that FU money stage.
Oh yeah, well,
Because it's like, what was I reading the other day? Because
was it Connor?
Well, I think the number was like somewhere around like 5 to 10 million,
Okay.
and you can put it in like a high yield savings account and then just live off the interest.
Oh, okay.
Like 200K a year, basically.
I gotcha.
So like that, like 5 to 10 million spot is like the number.
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have fuck you money.
Yeah. So that's the goal right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, what's like, have you thought about any of that stuff at all? Business aspect?
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely thought about it. Obviously, like real estate's a big one. At some point, opening up my own gym, just because I'm passionate about it. I don't think it would be like a huge gym, but I just want like my own gym where I go during the day. I'm still teaching people, doing what I love. I'm never going to be one of those people who makes so much money to the point where like I don't want to do anything. I'll just hang out at the house all day. Like that'll be cool for a day, and then I'll get bored. So
that's a surefire way to be miserable too.
Yeah. For some people it works. Like being retired is great, but it's like one of those things. Like I just get bored real easily. Like I cannot just sit around very long without like, all right, I got to go do something.
Yeah.
So and why not just keep doing what I'm doing and now teaching people, what I've gone through and different martial arts and stuff like that. So that's at some point definitely in the cards.
That'd be rad.
Yeah.
How's it been so far working with the Melee guys?
Melee's been really good. Man, talk about just a really professional promotion. Like, I don't know her full name, but I think Esser is the person I deal with.
Chow, I think.
I think so, maybe.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. And so, but like always, they're very fast to like my text messages. They always answer my questions. The pay's great. That's one thing that really surprised me for being their third pro show. Is the most that I've made in any regional show. So
Nice.
that's really nice. And then, everything just seems to be professional. I think them being on Twitch is a great move. That's like a totally different audience and platform that most fighters aren't, no other promotions really taking advantage of that. So I think that's a really good move on their part. They always have, the last two shows have gotten a lot of views from Twitch. Like
Nice.
I'm in the millions. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great opportunity. And I'm excited to be working with them.
Yeah, I wonder how that works, like as far as like the payouts for Twitch or something. Like I wonder if they make money off of that stream.
Yeah, I don't know.
But either way, it seems like, especially if you're like a newer promotion like that, like it almost seems like it's worth it to go like the Karate Combat route and then just try to get as many eyeballs on it
as you
like
can.
they're doing it on YouTube.
Yep.
Which is cool. Like I can watch all of Sam's fights.
Yeah. Yeah. For free.
It makes it easy.
Yeah, for sure.
So I always said like if we could ever get to the point where a lot more promotions like that can just be on television, like football, like the sport's only going to get
even
more
bigger.
crazy.
Yeah. It's about getting the casual fans' eyes on the sport.
Yeah.
Because once they see it and they're hooked, they'll become an avid fan. But it's really just getting those casuals that are like, oh, they know who Connor is, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Getting them on the sport every weekend, and then they start really getting into it. Then they become one of your avid fans. So that's the goal.
Yeah.
Right. So
It's a grind.
yeah, just like any other thing, But at the end of the day, it's a business too, and so yeah, I think going back to Melee though, for them being only their third show, and having the fights that they have on the card, is huge. Like obviously, me and Nakashima is the main event. That's a very big main event, and so for them to have only 3 shows and to be putting on these fights, I feel like it's just a kudos to them. Like
Yeah.
they're really about it. So,
That's a good barometer to kind of view your own career though too, because like you figure you're not where you want to be, but you've had what is that 13
13 pro fights. Yeah,
so like
50, man.
50, dude.
Yeah.
You could be having a lot more fights
That's
than you
true.
have now.
Yeah, no, that's true. Before you get to the big show, but yeah, there's some guys like that. They're just gonna keep fighting. They don't care if they're on a regional scene or not. That's not my goal. My goal, and I know taking nothing away from a guy who's a seasoned vet who wants to keep fighting, throughout their best years and stuff like that. But I'm in it to be the best. If at some point in my life I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be the best, I'm going to stop. That's kind of my goal, and I'm passionate about it. If at any point I'm like, there's no way this is happening, then I'm done. That's just kind of like how I look at things. I'm either all in or all out, and the goal is like that important to me. So yeah, I'm in it to be the best. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, big shout out to the Melee guys though. That was really cool. They got us a media pass for that.
Yeah,
Because none of them, a lot of places don't do that.
No,
So.
they're been very professional. We'll see how next week goes. Obviously during fight week and everything, and I'm sure production wise and like they seem dialed in. So
Yeah, luckily, well, I mean, I haven't seen too much of their stuff, obviously, because a lot of it probably is centered around the production. But like obviously like on their Instagram, they have like fight highlights and stuff. But I'm curious to see like what the production ends up being.
Right.
Like.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sad they're not going to be at the HEB Center. That's where the fight was originally going to be at. It's going to be a big arena. Now it's at the Premier Complex, Sporting Complex, which is still a fight at the end of the day. I'm still going to show up and do my thing, but it would have been cool to have the big arena. I was looking forward to that.
Was Pachanga the biggest one you've been in, or what was the one? What was the one that Bellator was at?
Bellator was it was Pachanga.
Oh, okay.
It was at Pachanga, but the biggest one I've ever been to, like arena wise, was the Toyota Center in where is that? It's like Riverside County. It's the Toyota Center, Ontario, California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was for King of the Cage. They always for some reason, they get a great price on using the Toyota Center. And it's huge. It holds like 12,000, 13,000. It's huge.
Dang.
And
a whole event was like about that big?
No, it wasn't like, so they didn't sell out. The King of the Cage never sells out, but like just the arena itself was that big. You're like, damn, bro. You're like walking in there. It's like, this could be like a UFC event if they really wanted to.
That's crazy, like a fight night.
Yeah, it was huge. But like, yeah, it's awesome, man. The fight in front of the lights, in front of everybody, big crowd. That's what I want. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun, dude. We're gonna have to film a lot. We'll probably have some more stuff going on out there. We'll figure out something.
Yeah,
to plan for out there.
I was gonna say, we should definitely we should sit down after the fight.
That would be cool.
And get like John, Trevor, get the boys all mic'd up.
Dude.
Just have an episode. That would be really cool. I think post fight would be sick, and it'd be like another family reunion almost kind of deal.
Yeah.
So
even just the adrenaline too.
Yeah.
Like,
right after the fight.
I've never actually seen you after a fight either.
Oh yeah, no, I think too. It's just that'd be a perfect time to shoot something like that.
Oh yeah.
Like we might as well, like, all of us. We haven't seen each other. We obviously haven't seen John or any of those guys for a little bit. So I think it'd be cool to all come together. I don't think we'll have a cool table like this all to sit around, but we'll have a table. We'll sit around, mic up.
Maybe we'll fly
have
out.
A drink or two. Yeah, it'll be good.
We'll check them.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a great trip. Be a great trip.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else everything else kind of up in the air now?
Right now I'm just focused on the fight. Like obviously there's, I've been thinking about what's going to happen next, what's the next thing, but I'm going to keep my cards close to me, and after the fight everybody will kind of know what I want to do. Right now I'm just focused on the fight. First I got a job, and that's beating James, and then I can go from there, and then everybody will know kind of my next move. So
nice.
Yeah.
How's it been like? Has your wife gone to a lot of your fights? Does she usually go
yeah. She's pretty supportive. She's been to a lot of my fights. She was at my last amateur fight. That was her first fight. Was my last amateur fight. That was 6 years ago. So she's been around the game for a while, so she knows what to expect. Her and my mom just sit there hand in hand and pray. That's like their thing. But they've gotten way better.
That photo is so iconic with her and you.
Oh yeah, sitting after the A1 fight. She's sitting there like, yeah, that's like I need to get that framed and put in my future house.
You should.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll have to put it up on this because that is such an iconic.
Yeah,
photo.
We'll definitely put it up on this. But yeah, she's excited. She's coming out. She's gonna be out in Texas, and she's been telling me, she's like, I only expect a knockout. She's like, you better get the finish. And so I'm like, I gotta keep wife happy. It's gonna happen. So yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah.
She's just like talking shit to you.
Pretty much.
While
She's
you're
like
eating your
she's
cereal.
like, listen, you've gotten 3 decisions. Like nobody knows any decision fighters, and I'm like, damn, all right. She's really throwing it to me right now.
Not good enough, Jeffrey.
Yeah. It's motivating though. It's working. So yeah.
Well, that's cool. You always need like it. I say the same thing too because my girl's super supportive of all the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very similar too, where it's like we're just kind of grinding.
Yeah.
Trying to
find
as many
it, trying to make it.
podcasts as we can, trying to film as much stuff as we can. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like other people have more, like I think it's a lot more like a business personally, like everything that we do.
Yeah.
Where it's like, there's no real like guarantee of success.
Right.
You know, we're just doing it and hoping something happens and we make some cool stuff along the way.
Right.
Get to sit with this nice table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, you know, like you said, success is not guaranteed. That's like a very, very important thing, but you're also still the captain of your ship. Like whether you make it or not, it's up to you.
And when you get to land, you got to burn the boats.
You got to burn the boats, baby. Yeah. And we're getting close, you know what I mean? Like things are heading in the right direction. Like it'd be different if our trajectory wasn't like as positive, you know what I mean? Like if we were just going downhill, we'd both be like, all right, well maybe we shouldn't do this. But I think like with the podcast, with the fighting, like one, you've done a lot of great work over at least since I've known you. Yeah. And like we're still steadily climbing up together. So I think it's going to be good. I think, you know, we're close, very close.
Yeah, I definitely I definitely need to put more attention into all the stuff that I do, but I feel like I've just been kind of like, we both have the same issue.
Right.
Where I feel like we go into like the mental lab and we crush it. Yeah. But nobody knows that we're crushing it. We just know that we're crushing it. Yeah. But I always meet, like, I was talking to one of Joe's guys. He has a guy that films up there with him.
Oh, okay.
I think his name's Julio.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Super cool dude, but he's like, whenever I meet people like that and then they see the shit that I do, they're always like, oh, and they're like picking my brain over everything. So I feel like you need people like that sometimes, you know? Because a lot of times when I'm doing this, it's easy to be like, oh, there's so many people that do this. Like, everybody can do this. But you can always tell how difficult something is when you try to explain it to somebody who has no idea about it.
Right. Yeah.
And then it becomes very apparent, like, oh, this is really difficult to explain.
To do. Oh yeah.
So it's like, oh, maybe this is a lot.
I feel the same way about trying to explain fighting to somebody who, you know, has never been in there. Yeah. You know, or like, how does it feel to be in there? It's like, well, there's a lot of things that go into it, you know, behind the scenes that like obviously they would have no idea about. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit more like you said, it's more complex, you know, than what the regular eye thinks.
Yeah, I know. Like, what's your nerves like typically before?
Oh, man. So it's been different throughout the years. I used to get pretty darn nervous as an amateur. Now I know what type of headspace I need to be in to go out there. That's the only way I can really explain it. Like, I obviously have to be in the moment, but I'm not necessarily like zen, like peace, or like really angry either. I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't really know where. But like I know where the barometer kind of needs to go, and then when I feel that, I'm like, good, I'm good. Like, that's all I need. Like if I'm warming up and all of a sudden I'm like, I feel it, then I feel it. I'm good. That's all I need. So
yeah, I'm stoked to get some footage in the locker room.
Yeah,
I've never been able to get in there, so
yeah, it's gonna be sick, cool. Man. Yeah.
What's the walkout song vibe?
Oh man, dude, I'll pull it up on my phone here. Dude, we'll get it right now. I'll let everybody know. I'll break it to you now. This is going to be good.
Live on the podcast.
There you go. Live on the podcast. Let's see. It's called The Killer by Kevin Costner and Modern West.
Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
Like actor Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
No way. He makes music?
From Yellowstone.
Oh, shit.
This is the song. Yeah.
This is a Jefferson Creighton walkout.
Dude, this is definitely my walkout songs are a bit different, as you can tell. But
when I get in there, I'm definitely doing the Devil Wears a Suit and Tie. That's
dude,
that's the go-to. Cold
this one's
Wall.
good. You pull your pistol, don't turn and walk away.
Gas lifted and there's roses on the grave. The killer.
That's good.
That's gonna
I
be
like
sick.
It. I like it.
It's gonna be an eerie night in friggin' Austin. That's for sure. When that song pops up and I walk out, it's gonna be.
You need to
gonna be
give us
good.
a good walkout.
Yeah.
I like that clip that I used for that last video that I did.
Oh,
where
yeah.
you're, like standing
Dude.
out. That's so iconic. Dude.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good walkout.
You just feel in the moment too, and you're so what's the word? You know, you're so when you're fighting, like you can get knocked out in front of your family, your peers and stuff. You're just so like open to everybody else, and so I feel like just putting your arms out, you're accepting that, you know, kind of burden. Like, hey, yeah, you could, you know, get exposed in front of all these people, but that's part of the game. So
Yeah.
like here I am, you know, I fear nothing.
That's been a tough thing for me to realize too, because I've always thought I'm like, I'd love to get in there a
Yeah.
couple times, see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey babe, can you film my fight?
Fight, yeah.
Getting knocked out
Knocked
right in
out,
front of
yeah.
my fiance.
That's a real, you know, that's a real
life
thing
for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Well, I appreciate
Hey.
you. This was fun.
This is awesome.
We'll be out in Austin. We'll definitely film some other cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to have like a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. Probably
Cool.
just post stuff throughout the week.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
It's gonna be great.
We'll catch you guys later. See you in the next one.